Alright, and now we are here in part 3 of the 2023 of the Lees anime experiences.
The 2020 Lees?
I am Talen Lee, he, him, and I am joined by Fox Lee.
She, her.
And we are done with all of the anime that we wanted to just unvarnishedly praise together. And now we're getting to the contentious, splintery end of things, where there's stuff that I, for example, liked, and Fox did not. And then there's the stuff that we just both agree is pure crap.
I don't know if there's anything we, disagree profoundly on. I'm sure we had some stuff that would be 1 or 2 tiers apart, but I don't think you loved anything that I hated.
I don't think there's anything like that necessarily, no.
I mean, the main reason for that is just that if I thought I wasn't gonna like something, I didn't fucking watch it. I'm not really into just proceeding through something I don't care about for no reason. That's why I stopped watching Bullbuster.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
So it's more like there's going to be things that Talen has an opinion on that I really just don't.
Yeah.
This is also not going to be the place you're going to find mid-anime, or anime that was pretty good but had some really disappointing bits, because we took care of those in the last video.
So, going in order of release. First up in the angry pile, Tomo-Chan is a girl.
Ah, fuck this show.
Wow! It's just right out there.
Alright, fine. I guess I am mad at some things that I didn't even watch.
Yeah, you watched an episode?
I think did we do the first 2?
I don't know if we got to the first 2. No, we didn't get through the first 2 because its episodes are split in half. So, you saw 2 15-minute episodes as one episode.
Okay. And the rest of it was just glancing over Talen's shoulder as he,
I watched the whole thing.
Endured the rest of it. I'm just...
Hey, Fox, what's Tomo-Chan as a girl about?
It's about an incredibly hot girl
yeah.
who's cool and buff and macho and can beat up all her friends, especially the guy that she's in love with. And the show is about how she feels insecure about that fact and like she needs to be a proper girl in order to get him to realize that she's in love with him. A premise I hate.
Yeah. It's simplifying where the story goes, but that is the premise.
Yeah, I'm not talking about where the story goes. I'm definitely just talking about the setup, the pitch, and the reason that I walked away from this show.
Yep.
Which is a real bummer, because goddamn Tomo-Chan is hot.
Oh, yes.
I really like her. The guy she's into is extremely mid. But
present.
Yeah. He's a unit of boy, alright.
Yeah, this is part of my ongoing concern with the types of anime I found myself enjoying more and more as I get older, in that I'm just seeing less stuff about cool wizards and transforming robots, and that's upsetting me. But nonetheless, I did watch all of Tomo-Chan as a girl, with an asterisk. Broadly speaking, I thought poorly of this show, and I thought poorly of it specifically in reference to other nothing happens comedy romance anime of its type. But I have an article about Tomo-Chan that you should go check out on my blog. It's gone up. It's funny because temporally speaking, it's not up yet to us now. But by the time this video is up, it's been up for a month. You should go check it out.
Oh, you should go check Talen's already existing article about this.
Yeah, Tomo-Chan is a aggressively mid version of what it is, and what it is a series of really good reaction gifs strung out with something of a plot scaffolding it together. The bits of the show that are good are really enjoyably good, but it is made up of so much packing peanuts on the rest of it. And, none of the plots are particular. It's not going to surprise you with anything. The closest you get to an actual surprise, I would say, in the context of the story, is, one, the disclosure that he is better at karate than Tomo. So you think, oh, okay, so he lets her win, right? Except, he then follows up with, no, I don't. I'm better than her at karate. If we were doing formal karate, I would win. When we fight, we don't do formal karate. She's a fucking maniac. I can't beat her. She is a terrifying monster machine. And that's great. I like that about that.
I just want that without any of the stupid complication of, I need to start wearing makeup, or I need to make him feel like he has to protect me if there's another guy around, even though I don't need his protection.
Makeup doesn't really come up for what it's worth.
There's definitely a learning to use makeup bit. I saw it.
I don't remember it.
Friends give her a makeover.
Yes, friends do give her a makeover.
There's definitely makeup.
And the point of that episode is she hates it and they don't do it.
Except they do it, because I've seen her in it.
No, they don't stick with it.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like,
But the show doesn't go like, well, maybe there's something to be learned here. It's like, okay, our solution for what happens with Tomo-Chan doesn't work.
It's like everything they wish to do with this premise is to, like, have her try out being less awesome than she is. And even if the repeated conclusion is, this isn't me, I don't need this, it's also just, I don't care, I don't want to see that, I don't care about that, I don't need that.
So, for what it's worth, that happens in, I think, 2 episodes. There's a lot more of this show than just, hey, Tomo, why don't you try doing more girly things? Broadly speaking, the stuff that comes up in most of these episodes is more along the lines of unpacking the previous relationship problem that the boy in question dated her best friend. See, here's the thing. This makes it sound more complicated and more interesting than it is. It's a very dumb show made up of 15-minute episodes, and broadly speaking, they get to a punchline. And one of the most common punchlines is, here are 2 girls commenting on what they're seeing, and then Tomo-Chan arrives and they're like, it's so unfair, she's so hot. Which,
that part's correct.
Yeah. And there's like a B plot with other characters getting into romances or whatnot, and conversations about long-term relationships between Tomo's parents, and flashbacks to when they were kids and what they were like together. The problem is, this is a series where one of the things they're going to do is put Tomo in a dress, because they put it in the fucking opening. Like, I mean, she's in a skirt all the time, but skirt and shorts, but they still do the, hey, what if we try a girly outfit? And there is one episode about that, and then, like, the conclusion is, this kinda sucks. But you can't escape the fact that you fucking put that in your show. Much in the same way, the second episode has Tomo getting harassed on the bus by a chikan, which, a bus groper. She gets touched inappropriately by a stranger in a thing that is a crime. Mm-hmm. And then they have her reflect on, does this make me more of a girl? Should I be happy about this? And none of the way they handle that is good. And
sure, you are not smart enough to ask that question.
Yeah, and like, don't
bring it up. You are the level of smart where you should just have her murder that guy.
Yeah, just don't bring it up. Just don't bring it up. You can do better. You don't have to do this. Just don't bring it up. And otherwise, the show I compare it to is Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie. And
I compare it a lot to that as well.
And the thing is, for all that Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie has the substance of wafer biscuits, it's good at what it's doing. Tomo-Chan is trying to be funny, and broadly speaking, it's not very funny. It's not very, like, I had a bigger laugh about Shikimori than I ever had about Tomo-Chan. And that's a real concern, because Shikimori's main thrust isn't trying to be funny.
I just want to take this apparently wild new technology that we have unlocked of what if a girl was hot the way that guys are hot?
Mm-hmm.
And just do some other kind of show with that. In the same way that every time there's like a sad lesbians anime, I'm like, okay, but what if we take the lesbians and just do a different kind of show that is already fun and enjoyable with lesbians?
I have some great news for you about other anime you didn't watch this season. But anyway...
yeah, so it's very much in the Shikimori bucket for me, which is like, there is an amazing looking girl in this. I wish she was doing something I gave a fuck about.
Yeah, and in the case of Shikimori, because we know what she looked like before she femmed up, she looked amazing beforehand. Like,
yeah.
Asterisk there, she was 12. Like, I'm not saying, ooh, she was hot, but the aesthetic she had at the time, she looked cool. She would grow up to be a super cool looking girl. Anyway. But yeah, Tomo-Chan as a girl is a very, very weak show with a lot of forgettable nothing in it, and the stuff that stands out in the memory, certainly to you, is stuff that sucks. I guess for me, the stuff that stands out the most is the sequence she has of like, well, what's hugging like, and going around hugging all of her girlfriends, and having these like lengthy thoughts of like, embracing a girl. I see why boys want to do this all the time. It's like, you are not a straight girl, Tomo. Like, you could be into a boy. That's fine. But you are not straight.
If these shows would ever fucking realize how queer they are.
Yeah.
Because they're always very devoutly like, there's
Shikimori's another example.
There's a girl who's an offsider who is very, very obviously into our boy girl.
Yeah.
But she is sitting in the lonely bucket forever.
No, she winds up with a boy.
Oh, that's worse.
Yeah. 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 And also the two mean girls who are constantly fuming about how hot how hot Tomo is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a recurrent joke. Girls, you do not lose your shit and start blushing when she walks into the room in boy mode if you are completely straight.
That's not a thing that happens to straight girls.
Anyway, so this is already more time than Tomo-Chan deserves.
Yep, moving on.
Endo and Kobayashi Live, the latest on tsundere villainous Lizelot. What's the pitch, Fox?
Broke my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, the pitch for this is it's not quite an isekai'd into an otome game show. It's, you can magically communicate with your otome game show. So we have our two main characters who are hopelessly flailing around each other with their interest in each other. United by a common interest in this video game that, God, I can't even remember which one of them likes it. I assume the girl, because it's an otome.
Yep.
But they like the villainess, not the main character, because, I mean, well, everyone likes the villainess now, apparently. It's just the dumb thing. This is a whole fucking genre now.
Look, it's the fault of otome games for making so many very hot villainesses.
Are they, though?
How many otome games have you played from this millennium?
I haven't played. I've seen lots of them.
And if
there is a villainess, she is usually no more interesting than the main character, who is a basic unit of nothingness.
Yeah.
So, she'll have a personality, I guess, is the thing. Main characters in these games have no personalities.
Like, I'm not a big otome game player, but I at least recognize my ignorance.
Anywho, so the conceit for this is that they're in the commentary club at school. So they decide to practice by doing commentary on this otome game. And magically, they are accidentally able to communicate with certain characters in the game, and they come through as, like, being the voices of the gods, so they can start influencing the game and going, oh, you see that tsundere bitch? She's actually really into you. She's only mean to you because she cares so damn much about you. So they basically, like, dob on her to her love interest and be like, no, you have to totally make sure that nothing bad ever happens to her, and she can't get upset and become a demon-possessed murder villain who gives you the bad ending.
This is how good romances start. The gods tell you who to fall in love with. The gods bully you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And, like, we picked this up because the pitch for it, in my mind, was like a me kind of player of this kind of game, or maybe like a Kathleen Lure kind of player of this kind of game, who would, as a commentator and or the voice of God, be like, kick him in the nuts and run! I was imagining goblin commentary.
A certain degree of self-awareness about the genre.
Yeah, and just like, just the gremlin energy of like, start some shit. Don't let this shit go down as scripted. Fuck with things. Cause chaos. Disrupt things. Really make some changes if you gotta make some changes. But, like, it is mostly just two characters after everything this fucking girl does telling you how great it was. Just again and again. And the idea of her being even like she starts off as being like the fancy private school bully towards the intended main character. And that aspect of her is gone by like episode 2. She's just a normal character like everyone else.
Yep. Because someone watched My Next Life as a Villainess All Routes Lead to Doom and thought, oh, that must be really easy to do. Yeah. Surely no one could do a really mid-botch job of this.
We could, like, speedrun the content of this in, like, 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And
I miss Baccarina.
Then, because that wasn't enough, they try to sort of follow through on the plot that's meant to be there in the original ending this character was supposed to have.
Yep.
So now there's like a witch who's actually like a goddess who's angry because her brother wouldn't fuck her.
Yep.
But they exist in the real world, and like the climax is like they're gonna come and kidnap our main character, who's like the reincarnation of the intended main character of the game, who... Actually, she's one of the good points of this game. She's kind of awesome.
Yeah, kind of.
She's like this character who has like a talent for healing magic, and this expresses herself by like she learned to beat the shit out of people with her hands and patch herself up afterwards.
Yeah.
She's actually kind of neat.
Yep.
But
this anime has an idea.
Yeah. They immediately make her pretty boring, though, because our main dude fixates on one of her love interests as the guy who's obviously him, and is like, she should get with that guy, so then they start bullying those two characters to get together as well, whether they like it or not.
Which, look, in a smarter, more interesting, better executed, better budget, better character designed, more fun, better acted kind of show...
That was a good show.
Been good.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot of how fandom does engage with this kind of stuff.
All of this could have been good.
But listen up, you fucking dorks. Write a fanfic like we did. This is how you do this shit. Mod the game. Don't involve fucking god magic. That's bullshit.
Even just, like, put some enjoyment behind the goblin, then, now kiss! Kind of machinations. As soon as you just have the characters directly talking to the characters and going, you have to get with her, don't you think she's spectacular? And they're like, well, I better do what you say because you're the fucking gods, and I think you're right about everything. It's just the most boring version of itself that it could possibly be. Yep. It's a real bummer. I wanted it to do stuff. They also cling to the idea that, like, even though they have completely fixed this girl's life, and made it so every other character in the game fucking loves her. They still do the whole, but what if she was so depressed and thought no one loved her and went down the dark path anyway? Like, why? Why? At this point, why?
I will give that angle that you've described this. That's a very reasonable level of paranoia for playing Otome games, because they will pull bullshit on you to try and make something terrible happen. But anyway, yeah, look, I couldn't tell you a third name of anyone in this show, and there are 3 in the title.
Yeah, that's true. I have already forgotten. The prince guy has a real dingus of a name. It's like Albert or something.
Or Stuart. Something like that.
It's a real British name, but it's not a cool guy name.
Yeah, this show promised something that I thought would be interesting and immediately showed it would not deliver on it.
No.
And the remaining 12 episodes spiraled out in front of me like, I guess.
It definitely wound up being a spite watch by the end of it. Like, yeah. I had to know where it was going after a certain point. But I was, at that point, sure that it was not going anywhere good. And it wasn't! Unless you're very excited about the reformed tsundere villainess angle, definitely skip this.
Then watch fucking My Next Life is a Villainess, All Roads Lead to Doom, because that's good!
Watch that, it's a better show. Well, the first seasons.
Yeah, sure. But this is no good seasons.
Yes, and I will give it this. I will give it 1 point. All the characters immediately dismiss the idea of going after the fucking show debate love interest who's like 10.
Yeah.
They're just like, no, we're not doing that.
Yep.
They shouldn't do that either. Everybody forget about that.
Uh-huh.
So that was nice.
Next up in the list was The Masterful Cat is Depressed Again Today, which is an anime about a girl who has a shitty job and a cat. And the cat is the size of a full-grown-ass man and takes care of all of her chores. And it's a show about how, gee wow, the pressures of capitalism sure make maintaining a normal and healthy life very hard for no good or meaningful reason.
I wanted to like this so much.
And I guess before I go on to rubbishing on this show, because, like, I found it boring and mid, this is a Gohan's production. Gohan's are a punchline right now because of their main shows. They will consistently make things that look weird and bad. This show does not look weird and bad.
Yeah, it's not bad for the normal reasons the Gohan stuff is bad. I mean, that does factor into it a little bit. There's some really fucking bad lighting in a lot of scenes. They seem to think that putting a lens flare in the corner of every outdoor scene and making everything look really washed out is how you communicate daylight.
Yeah.
Rather than just having things be colors. And there's some really fucking weird shots in the opening of, like, we need to do, like, a full 3D rotation around our character typing in her keyboard.
Yeah, and the tracking shot of following the cat going zoomy.
That's well done. That actually has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
All of the other 3D effect shots are just, okay, you're doing this to show that you can do it, but it makes this feel worse. Because this is supposed to be a cute, sincere, intimate, funny show that has that sort of magical realism. Like, yes, of course, this cat is absurd, but no one's allowed to, like, point that out or whatever. And yeah. It's a great pitch. I love the idea. It's very funny at its core.
In the same way that Free Reign is a show that I wanted there to be less of, you can make this show a lot better by dropping, I think, 3 episodes.
Oh, I would have loved to see 3 or 4 times as much of this show.
Sure, but there are 3 episodes that make this show very angry-making.
Yeah, the real problem with this show is that when the cat talks...
Yeah.
when the cat doesn't talk, when it's just the girl interpreting him, it's fairly enjoyable, because it's like a human trying to read the emotions of a cat that totally has his shit together and is good at everything he tries, while she's kind of a hot mess. And her feelings about herself are valid. And like, when she's thinking, oh, I barely managed to drag myself home after the obligatory workplace drinking I had to do yesterday before I was able to come home, is my cat judging me for that? That's funny, but
when the cat is judging her for that.
When they put you inside the cat's head and you find out that he is judging her for that, then it's just kind of him being shitty.
Yeah.
Especially because the deeper we go into this, the more we find out that she's kind of killing it now.
Yeah.
Like, she's really good at her job. All of her colleagues are very impressed by her. She is very well appreciated by all of her colleagues because she's the only person who can keep up with the boss when he forces them all to go out for workplace drinks. So she's kind of like the hero of the little office group. Like, oh, thank God you're here. We won't have to drink so much we throw up. And as we find out fairly late into the piece, she can also just casually wreck a guy's shit when he gets too handsy with his ex-girlfriend.
Yeah!
Like, fearlessly and without question, she just cruises in and plants this guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing!
It's not a choo-choo level wreckage, but it's pretty good.
Well, she's not trying to hurt him.
Hmm.
She's just trying to make him stop. Choo-choo was trying to hurt a bitch.
She was, yeah.
And
that's why
right.
Choo-choo's great.
But anyway, yeah, so we find out that she is, in fact, excellent at keeping her life in order. It's just that a person can't do, like, 2 people's worth of work. You can't be home cooking yourself nutritious and well-planned meals and meticulously maintaining the cleanliness of your apartment and, doing fresh shopping every day so you always have great food to eat. You can't do all this shit.
Yeah.
And if there's someone else in your life who can, maybe then you're great at all this stuff and there's no problem. And to have this judgy fucking cat be like, oh, she's so fucking useless, this human.
Yeah, it's the problem is the job. The problem is that the fact that the amount of time that her work is able to demand of her is completely unreasonable, and the cat judges her for being bad at maintaining what is obviously a bad life schedule.
Yeah, which is a really missed trick because you have a non-human observing human shit. He should be going, why do humans create this scenario for themselves? What is this madness they try to do? Look how effective my human is when she doesn't have to try and do 2 humans worth of shit every day.
Uh-huh.
It's very frustrating to deal with. And I kept going back to enjoying it whenever the cat was just non-vocal. And he's really cutely animated. They do not go hands very hard in this at all. Most of the shots of him are just like really cute giant cat animation. And it's lovely. And there's even some funny bits, like where she has to try and make him look like a normal cat to her friends in photos and stuff. Like, there's a lot of little cute things, but just the basic.
He wears a dust smock when he goes to the grocery store so he doesn't get cat hair and everything.
Yeah, that's the whole sort of traditional housewife blouse apron thing.
Yeah, it's very funny.
It is, yeah. And then the people at the shop are like, oh, this guy shows up in a cat costume every day. We do kind of love him because people want to come and see the guy in the cat costume. So It's actually good for our sales and stuff. So cross in it.
This is another show that I endured rather than watched.
Yeah.
Because, of course, the thing I'm talking about when I say you could make this show better by cutting stuff is every time he decides to talk about her gaining weight.
Oh, yeah, that too. The fact that he fat shames this girl who is a twig. She's an anime girl twig.
Yeah.
She is as skinny as every other anime girl in existence. In the previous episodes, we have talked a bit about informed fatness, or as I like to call it in anime, pretend fatness.
Yeah.
And like just this fucking... At its best, this is a delightfully absurd little warm, sort of not a romance, but filling the space of a romance kind of comedy. And at its worst, it is, what if your shitty cat negged you for not being able to keep up with the demands of capitalism and...
eating the food he made for you.
Yeah, and getting fat because you ate the food he made for you.
Yeah.
It's, yeah.
Well, don't worry, Fox, from here it can only get better. After all, what's up next? Oh, it's Shy.
Jeez, everything on this list, I'm like, I wanted to like this so much.
There's this is the category sorted into disappointment that makes you angry, Fox. That's what this list is going to be. It's not going to get better.
A lot of them, this category started off as being sad face, and then I replaced it with angry face.
Yep. So, Shy is I'm going to generously say it's a superhero anime.
It intends to be a superhero anime.
About what if Japan's superhero had social anxiety. And that's it. That's the premise. It's about a superhero with generic superhero-ness dealing with the fact that she's got social anxiety and isn't sure she can be a good hero. A hitherto unexplored concept by superheroes thus far, especially in this case because we're going to definitely do it all to a 14-year-old girl, as opposed to what we normally do, which is doing it to a 33-year-old man in a bat costume.
Well, he doesn't express his social anxiety by stammering.
No, and look, Shy dupes you in the opening episode about maybe it's going to be about effectively like a street level
it seems
saving
cool.
a roller coaster, stopping a house fire kind of superhero protecting people.
We just see a superhero saving a person from a disaster. Do you have any idea how fucking long I waited for that to happen in Hero Academia?
Yeah, 45 episodes. But in Shy, they do it in the first episode, and it doesn't come up again. After that point, it's just opposing super duper weirdo mega villains. I've read ahead in the manga, so I know what those villains are, and let me tell you, I am not a fan of what this story thinks of about superheroes. But I probably worked that out around the point that they dedicated an entire episode to what if this smug British billionaire beat the shit out of a child to teach her a lesson.
Yeah.
No,
she doesn't understand how to hero properly, so she needed someone who was so heartless he could beat the shit out of her for her own good.
I'm a little sparse on the details about what goes into Shy, like why you might watch it, because Shy's a really terrible show, and it has 2 good episodes, and they're right at the end, and you've got to watch the whole show to get the context for them, and it's not worth it.
I like the first couple of episodes.
If the first couple of episodes were representative of what the show was, they'd be pretty good episodes, but as it is, they're just a bait-and-switch bullshit thing, and I don't like that. I don't like superhero shows that don't know anything about superheroes. I don't like superhero shows that see superheroes as just yet another example of the shonen protagonist. And I don't like superhero shows that think everyone needs to be more or less the same kind of guy, which this show does, and it sucks, and I hate it.
Wow. That's the first thing on this list that I think you've liked less than me.
Yeah.
Like, just really grr.
Well, I mean, you know, I've got some pretty harsh words to say about stuff you never bothered watching, but, like, you know, if I bothered watching it with you, I probably liked it enough to spend time socially with one of my best friends about it. Whereas Shy sucks. And we watched it to the end because maybe it won't suck, but it sucks.
I wasn't expecting it to not suck. I just wanted some kind of closure on it.
The promise in the second episode is...
Oh, sorry. At that point, I wasn't expecting it to not suck. That was not a possibility in my mind. There's nothing it could have done with what it had already expressed about how it sees the world and what it thinks a good story is.
Mm-hmm. The second episode of Shy has a girl she rescued recovering from injuries, effectively as like her best friend at school and a big fan of Shy, the superheroine. And right there, you have an interesting concept with the Yuri goggles on of what if my crush had a crush on my alter ego and also we were both girls? Mm-hmm. It's not a lot, but it's fucking something.
I think it is a lot. I actually, like, the first 2 episodes, there's an entire arc there that, had it been the first arc of this anime, I feel like I would have a really positive opinion of it, and would only have started to sour on it, when it pivoted later. Like if we had had time to explore that? Because, like, they start off with, like, she wasn't able to save everyone in this, establishing shot that we see of her. Like, she's heroing around, and she does a cool thing, and she saves almost all the people, but she couldn't quite save one person in time, and that person got hurt. And this gives her a crisis of confidence. And, like, for the show that this is, which is supposed to be about, like, the personal experience of this particular girl being a superhero, that should be your whole first arc, right? Mm-hmm. That should be a drawn-out thing that culminates with her meeting that girl again and finding out that not only does that girl not hate her, she loves her.
Yeah, that should be your first half of the first season, and the second half of the season should be the new dynamic of, I have a crush on this girl who has a crush on me, but she doesn't know she has a crush on me, and how do I ethically handle this while also rescuing people from runaway go-karts?
And also, you can bring that to an end with the surprise twist of, also, that girl has massive trauma issues, and she is in fact the root of some of the bad stuff that has been going on, so you have to, open your heart to her and connect with her in a new way that, I don't know, maybe that's the point where you get the hero identity reveal or not. Depends what you want to do with this show. You should definitely at least have some fucking characters who don't know the secret identity, because that's what it's there for, to be interesting.
Yeah. Again, it doesn't like superheroes, it doesn't know what superheroes are for, so it doesn't do superhero shit. It uses the trappings and aesthetics of superheroes, probably because that's what's successful and popular, probably because of My Hero Academia, which again, knows nothing about superheroes and doesn't...
Sometimes it does. It kind of does for her, but for a lot of the other national heroes, they're not even really superhero costumes, they're just... No. Why is fucking the Swiss hero is like a Vocaloid? Yeah. Basically, she just looks like a J-Idol computer character. If for some reason that's the aesthetic that the national hero of Switzerland chose for herself.
Anyway, more like shite.
Yeah. Such a bummer. I will not be watching season 2.
Well, it can't get worse, right? Oh, what's up here? Oh, 16-bit sensation, another layer.
Oh, it can get worse.
I'm just gonna step away from the mic and let Fox explain what 16-bit sensation
come back, I need you to bounce off. This show broke my fucking heart.
I'm gonna make it worse.
Friends.
What is 16-bit sensation, another layer?
Okay, well, let me give you the pitch. Let me give you the reason that I got into this. This is a show about a girl who is an artist. She's a video game artist. But she's a video game artist in now, 2023, and her career is really unfulfilling because she works at a studio that churns out soulless mobile game garbage meant to extract money from simps. And all she ever gets to do is, draw the backs of dude characters in crowds, and all she wants to do is draw super cute, adorable bishoujo protagonists that you can connect with and love and have a great experience with, and also definitely eroge.
Okay, good. Just because, I'm sitting here, you are, the guys whose backs she's drawing are boring dudes in sex scenes. That's a point they make. Yeah?
I don't remember them being in sex scenes, but they're definitely making porn games both in her ideal scenario and in her actual work scenario. So that's not really a sticking point.
Hypno MILF Barhouse.
Yes, exactly. It's implied that the MILF part of this is the worst part. They never actually come out and say it, but the distinction in these games does seem to be that eroge about cute young girls is good, and eroge about middle-aged women who hypnotize you is bad, which to me is a fairly fucking arbitrary distinction.
That's a really interesting interpretation of Hypno MILF Bathhouse, Fox. It shows how different our experiences of this genre are.
It's not bathhouse, it's like therapy or fucking...
Moving on.
Yeah. Anyway.
So our protagonist wants to be working on eroge,
right.
She says.
And the pitch is she accidentally travels back through time to 1990 and gets to work on a bishoujo game right when the genre is climbing towards its lofty peak during the 90s, where bishoujo games were the absolute shit, and all the, best classics of the genre emerged, and, the time she's dreamed of being in, and all she's ever wanted to do is make one of those games with her as the lead artist, so she can, let out all her creative vision and her love of cute girls in a very straight way, definitely not in a gay way. So, that's the pitch. It's presented as a show where you're going to get to see this girl who's used to modern games and modern art techniques and modern computers and all of that convenience and accessibility. And she's going to go back in time and have to learn to use all these, totally sick but very annoying and tedious retro tools and techniques. And, learn how hard it was to deal with that shit and get around, not being able to scan at a decent resolution. Or, well, not being able to display it in a decent resolution, or, having fucking storage crunch on your game discs, or, only being able to use 16 colors, just like all of this shit that is part of making vintage games. And I thought this was gonna be an excellent show about that kind of process that would talk about the best and worst bits of making retro games, and the really interesting idea of this is an artist who is incredibly passionate about the genre of cute girl porn games. And that's not a straight character. And all of that sounded great. I was so excited for it.
Yep.
What this show is a story about this girl who accidentally travels back through time, meets a bunch of characters who are working on one of these games, glances off their lives briefly, meets a really shitty guy who is just sort of default positioned as her love interest even though he fucking sucks, then bounces back to her original time, and we repeat this loop a couple of times, seeing almost nothing of what actually goes into crafting games, because what they actually want to do is set up this story about how her going back in time to make eroge ruins the future because she did too good a job of it. And it was simultaneously picked up by everyone across the world and got so popular that it got exported to America and wound up being centralized there instead. But also no one was ever able to make a game as good as what she made, so the genre became hollow and horrible, and got warped into a gross American impersonation of what proper Bishoujo is supposed to be like, and this destroyed Akihabara and everything that she loves. And also an evil corporation wants to put her brain in a tank to make games straight out of her brain. Also, there's aliens?
Using AI?
Oh, yeah, that's what AI is. That's why AI is bad. Not for the normal reasons that AI is bad, but for this reason.
No. Sorry, Fox, you missed the point that they made very clear. AI is good. Generative media is good. It will write the story and do the art for you. It says as much.
That's great.
The
only problem is that it runs out of ideas.
And therefore, you need an artist to give it more ideas. And therefore, the person who can hire the most artists gets to make the best games.
And you can get that by plugging them into a tank. Yes. Also, there's aliens?
Yes, also there's aliens.
And for some reason, the person who wants you to get in the tank is a girl you met when she was a teenager who got a huge crush on you and you inspired her to change her life and build her company and make Bishoujo games, but for some reason she thinks you should get in the tank because otherwise her company will fail? His story fucking sucks.
Yeah, 16-bit Sensation Another Layer is absolute dog shit.
It's so bad. This was, of all the ones that we watched, this was the one that I kept watching out of a morbid fascination of surely this can't be what they're doing with this, and it kept getting worse somehow. It's baffling.
It doesn't want to talk about any of the media it claims to be about. It doesn't want to demonstrate an understanding of the technique they are supposedly talking about.
We get a little bit of goodness about, learning to do dithering.
Yep.
And fucking... Nope, I've already forgot the other thing. Oh well.
It Jesus techs its way through problems. When she encounters a technical problem, it's but what if our character here was a wizard and could just make the PC-98 do all of that and more with enough PC-98s.
Which leads us to one of the really prominent problems about this, which is Mamoru, the boy.
He sucks.
And really the story is about him more than it's about her, because she sure as shit doesn't have an arc.
No.
Unless you count, I wrecked something, and now I need to position myself in such a way that it can be fixed. It's not even I need to fix it, really, which is baffling. But they take a whole 2-episode detour in the middle of this to have the boy character do a time travel back to the 80s to work on video games with aliens.
Yep.
Probably? They seem to be aliens. Maybe also robots.
They arrive in the last episode in a UFO, Fox,
yeah.
And they beam people up. They're fucking aliens. Even if they claim, we're transdimensional, they're fucking aliens. Shut up.
We never really find out their deal.
Look, let me make this all so much worse. Because listing what's wrong with this anime is boring to me. The manga this is from is a 4-coma that expanded a little and goes into all the stuff you talked about wanting. It also centers on the 2 women artists who are the center of this whole thing. It talks about how different innovations in technology change things, about shifts in resolution, about storage solution, about distribution solutions, about the differences between console releases and PC releases. It is good. It also has beautiful shots of, like, here's a top-down shot of the studio and all the people moving through it and what they do over time. The differences between the types of workers. Did you know that in the original story, the guy in the mask, that writer, he leaves the company. He leaves to go do his own things.
He's really boring.
Because he sucks. And the types of things he wants to make are MILF Hypno Spa.
You want to talk about characters I screamed at every time they appeared on the screen. This fucking weirdo chain-smoking in the office the whole time.
Do you want to know about the economics of what it was like to make video games in the 90s as a tiny company? Because I fucking did, and the manga talks about it. Do you want to see people talking about half pixels as far as an artistic technique goes? Because the manga does this. This anime is ostensibly about eroge, and it does not fuck.
It's so weirdly sexless. Like, they mention, they clarify a lot. They are definitely talking about the kind of shoujo games I thought they were talking about.
They show specific examples of the porn games they are talking about. They name drop
porn games. It is definitely about eroge, and yet it's treated as if this is not, like, they never address the relationship that they have with this. They never
No one's embarrassed?
They never interrogate the idea that she might not be fucking straight. They just treat it as a totally normal thing for an artist to be super into girls in porn. And that's just, like, that's not even the tiniest bit suggestive of being not het.
Yeah, the manga source material is really good. I recommend it. I recommend it to you specifically. This anime is a disjointed puddle of mess made with such lack of interest and care in the kinds of things it's ostensibly about. It makes me assume the people who made it are either not paying attention to the source material, or are really stupid, or actively want to undermine the idea. Because this is a girl who has been surrounded by people doing unreasonable amounts of work to accommodate her, and she complains about them.
Yeah, she sucks. I really hate her.
And its vision of what you can do with games is, you can make a game so good, no one will ever make another game. Mm-hmm. And the only thing stopping someone from doing that is they don't follow through on one artist's vision, and then to go on and praise generative media as like, this will break down the barriers so all the games can get made. It is made... This is the kind of thing only a very stupid person who thinks they're smart would make.
Also, the logic of wrecking and fixing the future is the dumbest shit ever, because, like, she wrecks it by making a game that's too good.
Yep.
Having the effect I described previously of both it's too good and no one can live up to it. And the solution that the show comes up with, which fixes everything, makes Akihabara go back to the way it was, undoes all the mistake, is just she has to go back and make another game that's that good.
Yep.
So, one game would wreck everything, but one additional game would fix everything. And they frame this as, like, because the one company that she made it for, like, sold the IP, that's where it all went wrong.
Yeah.
And at the same time, she has this other friend from the past who's like, I'm gonna set up my own company and we'll be noble rivals kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, well the shape of that is very obvious. She needs to go back and make for that company a game that rivals her Too Good game. Because at least that follows the logic of, like, well, you prove that more than one person can do it, and you make sure that it doesn't all belong to one company that's now moved it overseas and decided that it looks like Marvel shit or whatever. But that's not it. She just goes back to the same place that she was before and does the same thing that she did previously, but this time it makes everything alright again. And it's fucking nonsense. I don't need, like, hard accuracy from a time travel show. It's a stupid premise. Yeah. I can cruise on it. But if you just do stuff that blatantly contradicts itself and everything that you've already set up in the show, I'm gonna get mad at you. You told me what to expect and then you fucked it.
Mm-hmm. And also, this is an anime about a girl who makes eroge, and you never, ever get a hint that that's what she's actually doing. she could be making accountancy software.
No, and they'll definitely make sure that you think about it by having, like, gratuitous pixel art, almost a titty slip. Here is a butt crack kind of pin-up art in the end credits of all the girl characters. Just, so you didn't forget that this is about horny games, because you sure as shit could forget about it the rest of the time.
It takes a really interesting, grounded narrative about a real thing that is genuinely interesting and the work of a lot of real women who were invisible by an industry.
Yeah, there was so many women, especially in the art tier of these games.
And the manga talks about this, and instead hand the whole thing over to an idiot time traveler and the shittiest tech boy ever. You like the PC-98? Well, why don't you name all the ports?
You can count the red flags on this guy from the moment he appears.
He's
first
10.
thing he did. Okay, not in the anime, right?
In the anime, the first time she meets him, he's 10.
He's supposed to be 10.
Yeah. He doesn't look any different the next time she shows up 6 years later, but...
No, I assumed he was at least like 14 or whatever.
Yeah.
But the very first thing he does is declare that the problem can't be his code. His code is free of bugs.
Yeah.
Like, he knows that it doesn't... You don't have to bug check it. He knows that it doesn't have any bugs in it. The art in the game doesn't matter. Only programming matters. Which is a novel perspective to have about a narrative porn game.
Hey, Fox, just a reminder, I said he's 10. He's working on a porn game, right? You might have a moment to go,
Ooh.
hang on, yeah?
That's probably part of why I assumed he was 14-ish.
Yeah, so in the manga, when he comes in to work on the code, they turn off all the other screens, and they just let him come in, debug the code, and go back to school. Because his dad makes a point of, I don't want to draw my son into this industry.
That's not appropriate for a child.
Yeah. Would you have gleaned that from watching the fucking show?
No, but I think it's very obvious he's not 10 in the show.
No.
I don't know if he's supposed to be, but he's clearly not.
Anyway,
yeah, he is nothing but a fucking series of red flags, and the more they try and, like, it's a weird kind of, like, he's obviously filling the role of her love interest, but also, like, there's no ending where that works, because by the time she goes back to the future, he's like 20 years older than her or something.
Yeah.
He's an old man.
He was born in 1980.
Yeah.
He's 44 when they go back to the
and
future.
And she's like maybe 20 in 2023. Like,
yeah.
She is a young woman.
But she throws herself out into a big hug at the very end. Cool.
It's awful. It's so bad.
There's nothing in this show that I think does a good job of what it's doing.
The number of times you see a clever idea in this show, and they just walk right on past it, and instead go, look, there's aliens, or a big computer, or what if we worked out live 2D 20 years ahead of time?
Yeah.
Did you think we were going to do something interesting with that? No, we're just going to say that it destroyed the games industry.
Yeah, and by the way, the math behind... We've spent way too much time on this bullshit. I'm
fucking stupid.
Pulling the plug on this one. Which means we're out of stuff where Fox ostensibly has an opinion.
Hey, cool. Now I can just give my surface level. Well, I didn't watch this one because I thought it was ugly.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're still going to get you giving your opinion because I'm going to start talking about things I liked. So, Trigun Stampede.
I mean, this is an easy one. I skipped down on it because I didn't like the first Trigun very much. I didn't watch it all the way through. It was boring and I didn't like how it looked. And this is that, but 3D, and 3D animation is not appealing to me. So, yeah. I didn't watch it. Easy!
Trigun Stampede whips. If you were a fan of the first Trigun, you should check it out. It's quite good. There's a small continuity wiggle in it, but like I think the era of going, ooh, everything in Trigun is a spoiler. Don't tell anyone anything about Trigun's greater plot because it gives something away. That era has passed. Just enjoy the fact that this is a way to get people into Trigun, and they'll go and check out the original Trigun and go, hey, wow, this is actually really cool.
Yeah, the statute of limitations has expired on Trigun.
Okay. Reborn as a vending machine. I now wander the dungeon.
I was kind of gonna watch this, actually, but Talen convinced me not to bother.
No. The core of this show is, as a vending machine, he needs to sell things to live.
Oh, it's another fucking capitalism isekai.
Yeah, so he's just going around to sell more and more things to increase his points, which make him better at selling things. Time to status screen is 30 seconds. Like, you get the OP...
Is it an MMO?
No.
Is it a game?
No.
No, okay.
No.
It's just a fantasy world, so it has a stat screen.
Yeah. Cool. He has a stat screen that he can access because he's a vending machine.
Okay. Writers? Okay. I just bring it in, yeah. Okay, we're just gonna have a little talk about this. if you're gonna put characters in a fantasy world, please, I am begging you, just find anything for them to do aside from capitalism. Just anything. I don't care whether they're isekai'd there. I don't care whether they belong there natively. I don't care whether they're 300 years old and all their friends are dead. I don't care what the big questions they are asking about life. I just need for them to do something other than, I will go and perform a thing for money and or treasure. Thanks. I'm glad we had this talk.
And now, before I get onto the last couple of anime I want to talk about, a real quick tour of just some names of stuff I am checking out and am going to watch in its own time, but I'm not in any pressure or rush.
What you got?
Onimai, Now I'm Your Sister. This looks like an anime that a lot of trans writers should write about, and I actually don't give much of a shit about, and also, I don't want to see a little girl's panties that much. Well, Dai Star. This is an anime which translates the idea of theater into superpowers. It's pretty fun. It's fun. Like, I don't know, I'm halfway through it. It's fine. I don't know any of the characters' names. That's not a good sign.
I'm not watching it because I don't like the whole theater pitch, but
Oh, yeah.
you know, it's not a great evil. Have fun with it.
The girl I like forgot her glasses.
Ugh.
This is exactly the kind of way Gohan's looks that makes me go, oh, Gohan's are bad at making shows.
Hey, you remember how I said that Masterful Cat, they didn't go hands very hard at it?
Yeah, Gohan's is now a verb.
Yeah. But they go hands all the fuck over this one. So for some reason, this cute little romance high school anime is shot like a fucking horror show. I'm not kidding. I expect the knife to come out at any fucking moment. It's not how you make a show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. We're working through it.
And Jujutsu Kaisen's going to be both great and kind of disappointing because it's not my vibe.
Yeah, it's going to end on a massive bummer. Like,
yeah.
They tell you in the first episode,
do.
every Jujutsu Kaisen, every Jujutsu sorcerer's life ends in tragedy. They weren't hiding that. Bleach, 1,000-Year Blood War. I have invested in Bleach in the past. I'm not touching this one until it's fucking done.
Yeah, Bleach betrayed me like 20 years ago. It has not earned me coming back to check it out again.
Synduality Noir looked kind of interesting. I like the mech designs.
Is this the one with the stupid gender shit?
It's an anime, Fox. They all have stupid gender shit.
Okay, is this the one with the stupid only girls can do thing and only boys can do thing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea what you're talking about, I'm afraid.
There was one where there was like a mecha show where there was like the inherent pitch of like it's like a female seed that only interacts with it or something.
Oh, this is the one where you need an R2-D2 to pilot the mecha and the R2-D2
That's right. Yeah, no, I hate that.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not watching something with that pitch.
Sure. But also, I probably would have watched it by now, but it got interrupted in production midway through because of game scheduling, and I'm like, okay, so this is probably going to suck butts anyway.
I see.
The Quintessential Quintuplets had another season. I think I'm actually done watching that. I think I got, like, my good season out of that in the first one, and I'm cool with that.
They finished that.
Well, the manga's finished. Kizuna No Allele. Alright, so...
I think that's pronounced allele.
Okay, but however you pronounce it, this anime appears to be actively trying to induce me to hate watching. Because on the one hand, you have an entire story arc built around the idea of we are using personas as false identities, and there is a mystery story about what people are like in real life when you're not interacting with their VTuber avatars. And on the other hand, the first episode pitches NFTs.
Yeah.
So, like, there's a super interesting room for a story there, but also, are you fucking kidding me?
No anime could have aged as quickly as that one did. Just go watch Dot Hack.
I've watched Dot Hack.
Yeah, watch it again.
No!
It's probably gotten better. It's gonna be better than this!
Girlfriend had a second season. I've actually been meaning to watch the first season of Girlfriend, since someone pointed out to me that it's basically the same premise of Rama 1/2, which is a bunch of extremely stupid people with crushes on one another. And, like, that actually sounds like a fun time. I have looked at the 100 Girlfriends Who Really, Really ... Love You. It's an impressive project. I'm actually honestly impressed with the work done to demonstrate the idea. I don't think I've got it in me to actually engage with it directly. Especially because you've got 100. You're not gonna, you're gonna walk some of them.
Yeah, I am told the starting 5 or 6 are, like, great and actually well handled and given enough time to enjoy. But, like, it is a physical impossibility for you to keep doing that all the way up to 100. It's going to be stupid and bad at some point, and I don't need to get on that train to begin with, so...
Hell's Paradise. This looks like an anime that was made to have one amazing pilot episode and no ideas after that point, so I haven't bothered looking into it.
Is that the Suicide Squad pitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Condemned people get to do horrible shit. Don't care about that kind of show.
The Cafe Terrace and its goddesses. It's Love Hina with better production values. I've had a look at it, and along with Temple, in the vein of just like, hey, is this anime about cute girls and light comedy interesting? And
I don't need another Love Hina, and I never will.
You didn't need one Love Hina.
Exactly. That's how I know I don't need another one.
Undead Girl Murder Farce is the one about a guy carrying around a head that's trying to get revenge. I haven't looked at that one yet, but it is on my list to wind up looking at.
I might have watched it if Apothecary Diaries hadn't already been there to be an
Scratch
interesting
that
mystery
itch, yeah.
solving thing. Yeah. It's like, no, I think I'm good, actually. I don't need what sounds like it's just a worse idea.
I'm in love with the villainess. I read the manga. It's good.
Another show in the villainess genre.
Hey, I'm in love with the villainess is nakedly horny and actually gay.
Is it? I was going to say this is a gay one, at least.
Yeah. And, the manga's pretty good at what it is, but I did actually get bored, so I stopped reading.
It does, unfortunately, for me, ride straight into that space of anything where the girls are actually gay. I will not like the character designs at all.
Well, that's because you are...
Definitely not for me.
Forgive me, you're an immense snob.
I just want to see a girl wearing some fucking shorts and looking like a grown-up.
Yep, that's not this genre.
No.
Bungo Stray Dogs... The fact that there was another season got me to check out the manga. I'm liking the manga, but also, it's season 4.
Yeah, we might go back and pick that one up from the start at some point.
Yeah, it's not bad. It does look like it has a problem in that there are no girls, but, I've put up with worse. The ice guy and his cool female colleague.
This one I actually meant to check out.
Yeah.
Just cause I've been pleasantly surprised by a lot of romance anime lately, and I'm gonna be real, just the idea of romance anime with adult characters is enough to get me to kind of go like, oh yeah.
What, like Watakoi? One of our favourite shows.
Right, yeah, great example actually. Watakoi, excellent.
Yeah.
Or like I thought Love After World Domination was going to be. And then it pulled a Swiftie on me and turned out to be about fucking high schoolers.
Yeah, they're 14. No, really, we promise.
I hate it.
Get stuffed.
But yeah, I don't know. I thought I might give this one a spin, and the only reason I haven't is because I forgot about it when I went to acquire legal viewing locations for the shows we decided to watch. So I probably will next time we go to acquire legal viewing locations for the shows we're interested in watching.
The experienced you, our dating story, the experienced you and the inexperienced me. It looks like a mature romance story. This can't keep happening to me. I can't keep liking these series where no one has a sword.
Which one is experienced?
The girl is experienced and the guy isn't.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just romance.
Alright, so, now we get on to the stuff where I've got a little more. Bang Dream, it's my go.
Oh, excellent. I'll get a snack.
I watched 3 episodes of Bang Dream, It's My Go, and I didn't feel interested enough to watch any more. None of which is to say that Bang Dream, It's My Go is a bad show. It doesn't compare well to the things I thought I should be comparing it to, which is to say, Bocce the Rock. But, Bang Dream, It's My Go is fine at doing what it's doing. Which is to say, it's trying to sell merchandisable idol art and single CDs. But Bang Dream It's My Go has Rock's Kid. And Rock's Kid is the lead singer of the band. Her name's Tomori. And her gimmick in the first episode she shows up is the main character sees someone crouching by the flower bed at school. And what she's doing is she's stealing rocks out of the garden and putting them in her pockets. And the protagonist notices her and she immediately bolts. Just flat face freak out, runs away.
That's goblin energy, that is.
You see her again in the classroom. Her desk is covered in rocks, and she is sorting them into order.
Oh my god, this is peak normal brain.
Critical support at this point for Rock's Kid. This is when I'm like, I don't know anything about Rock's Kid, but you seem to rule. Rock's Kid then winds up being in the background of a scene where our main character, Anon, it's embarrassing that this is the show where I can remember the fucking names, where Anon cuts herself. She cuts her finger. And she turns to Rock's Kid and says, hey, do you have a sticking plaster? Whereupon Rock's Kid opens a tin and shows that she has hundreds of sticking plasters arranged neatly and organized by color and theme.
See, the real problem with Onimai Elf is that she wasn't autistic enough.
And Tomori, offers her any sticking plasters, and she's like, oh, well, I'm grabbing this area, and then she sees that, oh, they've got penguins on them. At which point Tomori starts to inform her of penguin facts. You have now subscribed to Penguin Facts. Emperor penguins have this kind of beard. They lay eggs in this kind of sequence. And then after...
Don't even ask about their teeth.
And after a few seconds of this, she does this blank face expression, eyes go big, suddenly stops mid-sentence, falls a little, shrinks back into herself and pulls the tin back. Our protagonist, Anon, uses the little sticking plaster with a penguin on it and goes about her day. The next day, she mentions to Tomori, oh, you like penguins, right? And Tomori's like, what?
I'm imagining all of this with 2D animation and it looks so good in my brain.
I genuinely like the way that they've represented an incredibly neuro-spicy girl. I would hope that the next plot point in that arc is Anon getting her, a notebook or something with a penguin on it, because, you like penguins, right?
Buy your little penguin plushie.
And the result being, Tomori's like, well, fuck, now I need to collect every single other plushie in this line, because that's the kind of, that particular way of misunderstanding someone's neurodivergence, but still nonetheless using it as a point of comedy that isn't mean-spirited. Yeah. I would love that.
That's the trick with all these, my new favorite genre of anime character, is that it needs to be fun and funny without ever being mean-spirited.
Yeah.
If you are pointing and laughing, then you're doing it very wrong. And, acknowledging that it is the reason we love these characters. That's why they're so fun.
Anyway, the rest of Bang Dream It's My Go wasn't interesting enough, but I just wanted to share the story of Rock's Kid.
Love this one character.
Yeah.
In this one episode.
And two.
Two episodes. Two.
But, also, she's the main singer of the band. She's meant to be, really important, and, the whole... And obviously she has anxiety about performance, and there's the whole thing about, well, why can't you just sing? That seems easy to me, the person who sings. And ostensibly, Bang Dream It's My Go is about girls who are outcast for some reason forming a band, and, that could be cool.
Yep.
I don't believe you, and I'm moving on with my life.
I mean, once again, that is Butchie the Rock. That's the pitch.
Yeah. Now, from one brainless 3D animated idol thing to another.
Oh,
hey, Fox, what do you know about Technoroid Overmind?
Oh, no, it's a boy idol thing.
Uh-huh.
I know they're robots.
Yeah.
And they have just the cheapest fucking animation I've ever seen.
So Technoroid Overmind is a Naoki Urasawa story put together by a complete buffoon. The core of it is you have this group of robots who've just been dumped in a house somewhere, and they've just been charging off the power stations that are there and going about pretending to have a life in the house. Mm-hmm. And then their house assistant is like, so you need to start paying rent? And they're like, what's a rent? And this...
jobs are bad.
This squad of idiot himbos then go out to try and do things. And the thing is, again, the little signs that someone had a thought... The reason androids are so common in this world is because climate change, All the cities are drowned, there's, water everywhere, and people get by on little boats and little hoverjets and whatnot.
So you would make extra people who need to operate on fossil fuels?
You would make synthetic people who can handle standing outside in the sunlight to do all the jobs that need to be done outside. But these people don't want to do those jobs, so instead they go to what amounts to a karaoke bar tournament tower to do songs. And, that's the show. The show is, here is some background detail that's interesting for a sci-fi story, and here is us doing fucking nothing with it.
If you die in karaoke, do you die in real life?
No.
Boo!
No, it's not even like, oh, you'll get reformatted if you do a bad karaoke song. It's just like, no, we need to go to the tower and do a good enough performance that we get enough likes. And if we do, we succeed and we move to the next level of the tower to do another song tomorrow.
What does that do?
You get a chance for more likes. And apparently if you get to the top of the tower, you get money.
Do you get paid at some point?
At the top of the tower, you'll get money, and that will pay their rent, they think. And then, at the end of the...
So, they're gonna pay their rent by slowly competing in a competition that won't pay off for, like, months.
I don't know how many tiers this tower has.
I mean, you did call them stupid.
Yeah, and then at the end of the first episode, as they're on their way home from the karaoke competition, they watch as a service robot grabs a human body and throws it into a pit of molten lava.
Uh-huh.
Credits.
I assume the show's gonna go somewhere with that.
I don't care.
It's got to, right? You can't show it and then not do anything.
I've watched 5 episodes of this show. No, it's not. like, they introduce that, they have that moment, and then the next episode is, oh, we found out about the thing that did that. Oh, well, nothing important there. Moving on. They have a sequence where a girl is dying a girl is being in permanent hospital care, and it turns out that her brother is also an idol that they're in competition with. Uh-huh. And it's like, oh, this moment of vulnerability, we get to see him. What can we possibly do with this new situation? How can we grapple with this relationship we've learned about?
I'm going to assume sing a song.
We're going to go to the karaoke bar and sing a song about having a new friend.
It's like, what if musicals were bad?
With an added dash of what if these 5 characters were the same very stupid guy. It's a really embarrassing storytelling kind of push. Because, like, it's very clearly, like, someone had an idea, and then the actual show that got made said, no, we can't do those. Those are complicated. And remember, Pluto came out this year. So, like,
which I guess we should be commenting on, except we haven't watched it yet because we've been saving it.
Yeah.
And also, like, what is it, like, 8 fucking hour and a half? It's an OAV series, essentially.
Yeah, it's a beefy boy.
You need the right moment to watch something so fucking heavy. It is not an easy watch.
Mm-hmm. And then we move on to stuff that I liked.
And we already talked about stuff that we liked.
No, stuff that I liked that you don't know.
Oh, okay.
Because...
I guess I'll eat my biscuit.
You said something about wanting, like, can we just have the lesbians anime where they do cool things instead of sad things? You asked that, didn't you, Fox?
I didn't mean it like this.
Oh, I see. Now, all of a sudden, when there's an isekai story about rad lesbians with lightsabers on brooms, you're all like...
I also said I wanted them to look like adults and wear pants.
One of them wears pants.
She does not.
Yeah, she does. Anyway,
under like 4 petticoats, maybe, which does not fucking count.
Oh, okay, so pants need to be worn without other clothes.
If there's a skirt on top of them, then they are undergarments. That doesn't count.
I'm talking about the magical revolution of the reincarnated princess and the genius young lady, which is an incredibly mid show, but it says in the first episode, this is what you're getting, and that's what you get. And it does a great job of delivering on that premise. It's about a girl in a magical kingdom who can't cast spells because she's not magically gifted, who instead uses all the magical nonsense around her to make magical devices so she can do things like fly on a magical broom and fight with a fucking lightsaber. And she spends her time going around hunting monsters and bandits and developing new and cool technology that she then gives away. And she winds up, when her brother breaks off an engagement with a girl, flying through the window, kidnapping the girl before her brother can, exile her, and whisks her off to be my personal assistant, and they fuck. And it is a perfectly good 5 out of 10 show. The worst thing I could say about it is that it doesn't need to be an isekai, and it is an isekai, but also it tries to do something with that, in that the main character has a moment in the later part of the series, like really towards the end, where she finally admits, look, hey, I have these memories of being born in another world, and I, died, and we have a whole genre for that, we call it isekai, and, actually telling someone about this, and then expressing that she has an enormous amount of anxiety about, hey, did I eat the soul of the person I am now?
Yes.
Am I a parasite?
The isekai'd into another character whose life was already in progress.
Did I steal these people's kid and then go around going, I'm not going to get married because I don't like boys? Am I a bad person? And that's cool. How long does this last? 5 minutes? Oh, okay, moving on.
Okay. Alright, fair enough.
It is a very interesting, average thing, right?
It's definitely what I had in mind when I said I wish I wanted to look at it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I'm not saying you should like it. I'm just saying it's funny that you thought, well, it's funny that you brought up, like, I wish they did I wish they did this, and I'm like, haha, they have done this. It's not what you want, but they've done this. And then the big one that I've been holding off on this whole 3-parter is Oshi no Ko.
Ah, yes. Now, I will say up front that I did not watch this one because the idea of reincarnated into the body of the infant child of a girl I'm horny for was enough to make me go, hell no.
It does have the very strong smack of the writer's barely concealed fetish.
Yeah, that is just too fucking sleazy for words as a pitch. Which seems to be a shame because by all accounts it's not as gratuitous as it sounds.
So...
But, you know, I don't regret going, well, I don't do that. Because I also can't stand the stars in the eyes effect thing. It just makes people look inhuman to me. I do not enjoy it.
So, Oshi no Ko, I watched the first episode. The 90-minute long special.
Oh, it's got like a movie-length premiere.
Yeah, and it actually screened in movie theaters as a movie.
Huh.
And it's unprecedented. It also had like a full music clip version of its opening song on the first day. Like, it wasn't a matter of like the song will go out and get popular. They were like, no, we know the song's going to be a hit, and we have an anime version of the music video clip because we want people to associate this with the character. And there was a spoiler warning up front of this video in case you forgot it, but like you should be used to that by now. But at the end of the first episode, she dies. The mum dies. And that then pivots into our male main character, Aqua, having a little bit of a Death Note style setup. Like, aha, I now know all the pieces. I can find the man who conspired to have my mother killed. I can get back at him. This is the mystery. This is the murder mystery that has been set up. And I felt so disgusted and disappointed by that. This series started with the premise of, hey, what about this interesting woman with an interesting story and the potential mystery surrounding her place of origin and subsequently the situation with the kid's father, right?
Oh, yeah, right. So you could talk about the interesting angle of, like, you know, the thing you glance off at the beginning of, like, what is it like getting pregnant as an idol?
Yeah.
The industry is incredibly fucked up about that. Let's look into that.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff there that had the room to be really fucking interesting. And then it goes, psych, this isn't a cool story about an interesting woman. This is actually about a story about 2 dudes. And I found that so disheartening and boring that I dropped it.
Mm-hmm.
I left Oshi no Ko alone for a month. A couple of days ago, I got bored and thought, well, I'll give the second episode a shot. You know, I had been encouraged to give it a shot, so I'll give it a shot. And the thing is, the second episode is pretty good. It's a pretty good show. In fact, if you watch the show without the first episode, and you just have this mystery of, hey, these 2 twins are both entangled in the media entertainment industry, and, like, one of them is really actively trying to get into them, and one is actively trying to resist it, even though they are both absolutely star material. What's going on there, and why do they have 1 star in each eye? And that's interesting. That's if you don't have the movie to start with, there is a more interesting story here that didn't have to spend 90 minutes making you feel sad about the woman it murdered.
Just a real slow 90-minute shove into the fridge.
Yeah, and then I watched the rest of the series. In fact, I finished the series today as we're recording this.
Oh, wow.
And the thing that's frustrating is the reincarnation thing never comes up.
Oh, god damn it.
Like, there is nothing in... There's one moment in the whole series that I have watched in which the fact that he is reincarnated gives him access to any information that he would not otherwise be able to have as a precocious child.
So this could have just been a cool show about 2 siblings trying to work out who killed their mom.
Yes.
And negotiate their careers in show business in a show that is actually going to admit that the industry is shit.
Yeah, the industry eats women and shits entertainment. And it's a really interesting kind of failure. Because when the show is good, it's so good. I like these characters a lot. I like the stars in the eyes thing. the two tracks of the two twins with their different relationships to media and what they want to do with their lives is super interesting. Ruby is meeting a lot of interesting characters. There are
Is that the girl one?
Yeah.
Right.
The kids are named Ruby and Aquamarine.
Yeah.
Because their mum was extra as hell, and I love her. There is a recurrent thread about, the fact that they are close to each other and care a lot about each other in ways that other people don't understand. That doesn't need reincarnation. That could be, we both watched our mother die together as young children, and that fucked us up a lot.
Now, the girl one has an isekai in her as well, right?
Yeah, they're both isekai reincarnations. In fact, the girl is a cancer patient that the guy worked on.
Okay. So she just kind of collateral also. God, that's weird. Why?
I cannot see in this anime what this adds. It seems to be something that dedicated a lot of time and energy to generate nothing. Stone nothing. And you might say, well, it's how he justifies being so smart. Like, anime has never needed to justify bullshit smart teenagers before. And if you want to say, well, it's not realistic. Is it realistic to have him reincarnated?
Feel like one of those is more egregious than the other.
It's a really interesting show to me because of how its failings frustrate me, but not enough to make me dislike the things about it that are good.
I understand that kind of feeling.
And like, there are some nice moments, like, really good, these characters interacting and observing a thing and engaging with one another in the reality of the fiction in a way that makes me just super happy. That you can also see if you just type Oshinoko GIFs into Discord. But the execution of that first episode, that rift, and that fucking need to focus on the dead mum like that, and the reincarnation angle, just, what the fuck are you doing?
That's such a shame, like, finding out that they could have left out the squick element that kept me away from it in the first place, and it would have been of no consequence.
Yeah.
That's really aggravating.
Yeah. Like, I kind of think it would be interesting to watch just the second episode onward with you. It's a rough second episode because, like, my first like, when I finished the second episode, I said, this anime knows it's okay to like women, right? Like, you can like any women. You don't have to like all of them, just pick some. But
just don't hate.
Yeah. But, like, the core of the show is an interesting, almost crime documentary style story about the inner workings of the Japanese media industry and things like the theater circuit and whatnot. And that's cool. I liked it a lot. I don't know why we needed to have two babies discussing whether or not it was inappropriate for them to suck on their mother's tits.
Oh, anime.
Yeah, oh, anime. And all of this is to say that 2023 doesn't compare that well to 2022.
Look, once again, I don't think there's that many more shows that I was uncritically a fan of. Well, that's the wrong phrase.
Yeah,
I'm not uncritically a fan of anything. What's the point of that? I unqualifiedly a fan of.
Yeah.
I don't think there were that many more shows than there were this year.
But I think that the highs of 2022 were higher and the mids were better.
That's probably accurate. I mean, God, if nothing else, Summertime Render.
Yeah, mention number 4!
Mention number 4, you thought there wasn't going to be another one. But, like, that is...
Rule of 4, is that what they say in comedy?
Just one of the best anime I've seen.
Yeah.
It just is. You can't have that every year.
Yeah, you can't.
And it was also the first time we got Spy Family.
Yeah, you can't be the first season of Spy Family every year.
It's just not going to happen. I can't even remember what else 2020 had, because those two are, like, they loom so large over everything else that was going on. Oh, right, Bocce and Do It Yourself. And...
Like, we could do a whole list of this. In fact, we did.
We did, yeah.
Your boy Kong Ming.
Go check that out, yeah.
The Euro Camp Christmas movie.
That was kind of cheating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't...
My Dress Up Darling.
I don't feel like we're in any kind of fucking wasteland here or anything.
No.
There was plenty that I really enjoyed without any need for, like, warnings or big old disappointing asterisks.
Good but.
And there was a pretty good mass of stuff that was either fine, but I'm not in a committed relationship with it, or pretty good if it hadn't done that one thing. All in all, not a bad year, I don't think.
I liked sharing anime with you, but a lot of these shows I would not have bothered finishing.
That's fair. You know what? It did have more stuff that made me angry than
Yeah.
2020, that's for
Well,
sure.
that we watched. 2023, I'm sure that 2022 had some absolute clangers. I'm sure there's some stuff here that we should definitely go back and like,
Well, I am mad at Shikimori,
but why is there hot Hitler in this anime? That's a weird thing to put in there.
In 2022, we didn't talk about the bad shit. We just talked about the stuff that had the cool girls and boys in it.
Yeah.
And other, if there were any other. I don't think there were.
No.
But we would have if there had been. So, you know, you're not going to get the same result. But this year we were encouraged to talk about what we were mad at. But it was at least mostly pretty interesting.
It was just a full, thorough look at everything we watched in the year.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe we'll go back and watch, I don't know, D4 DJ All Mix. Just so you
Nope.
can...